Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Risen Esports dominates open week number 2. I was going to say Taco Bell party. This channel has the wrong thing. Excuse me. This is... Which one are we in right now?
This is Unstoppable, I believe.
I don't... Okay, the meme's already started. It's Unstoppable. Hypnotic Gaming versus Blast Plant Down. I'm your cast of the day, Eric Desorix Patran, followed by my co-caster. It is The Slaw, and that's what I'm going to call you from now on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing quite well. Blast Plant Down. Okay. Everything's making sense to me right now. I'm ready for this, dude. Let's get into the memes, man.
We've got some interesting bans already. A lot of target bans, really, is what we're talking about here. But yes, we've got some Risen veterans in Hypnotic Gaming. I think Viper has only won the Risen Championship like 7 separate times, so it's an exaggeration, by the way.
We are in a new patch now, so definitely going to be some changes coming through. More specifically, Ornn, blessed that he was nerfed, by the way. It's when a champion's played in every single lane, it gets kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, when he was just in top lane every once in a while and the occasional support mixed in, it was like, okay, I mean, he's a good champion, he has scaling, but he can get punished in the top lane. And then suddenly he was mid lane, and then he was jungle. I don't think we've seen a bot lane Ornn yet, but I'm sure it would work if you just tried hard enough and picked a support that goes with it. So yeah, Ornn nerfs are great. The other great Ornn nerf is that if you mess up, you can ult in the wrong direction now, so that's always fun. But speaking of Ornn nerfs, we have Ornn locked in first rotation for Hypnotic Gaming.
No, it's not going to be over. Ornn, he wants to play, he wants to see the Rift, and Hypnotic Gaming are going to make sure that he hits just that. It's going to be Lulu picked up as a first pick over on the side of Blast Plant, and I know some people have been kind of raving about the Lulu. I mean, we've yet to see too much of it. It's very early in the patch, but there is a lot of hype going behind this pick.
Yeah, so Lulu has improved. It's just a matter of how much and how much you think your opponent is going to be taking the Lulu. I'm not sure. I think Lulu is first pick in a draft overpowered, especially when against a player who doesn't have Lulu in their match history. But you never know. You know, Polymorph, it's a great spell. It's great at shutting down hyper carries. It opens up a lot of options later in a draft. She can threaten something like a Kog'Maw pick if you just want to go that way and then lose the game because you drafted Kog'Maw. But yeah, she's a good champion. She has her strengths. And in this patch, it makes a little more sense, especially when we see so many support bans going down. With the Yuumi and Nami already banned up, I think both teams want to be going enchanters, and so getting Lulu out in front makes a little bit of sense.
It's going to be a good combo as well. The Lulu paired with the Ezreal. It's going to give a lot of harassment in the bot lane. It is going to be a slightly weak bot lane that's buffed up just a bit by the Lulu, but it kind of has this old school effect that Yuumi and Ezreal brought in the current meta. We're kind of throwing back to that, and it is quite potent, but you can get counterpicked pretty hard going this early, especially with the Senna locked in.
Yeah, so Hypnotic Gaming is going with a much more standard composition, with Senna being immobile as she is. Having a Kench to back her up and give her that safe laning phase is always essential. You've probably heard that 15,000 times by now, but it still reigns true. And Ornn, of course, just gives that late game scaling. So Hypnotic Gaming, I mean, they have Senna stacks. They have the Ornn going for the late game. We'll see if the Senna is the only partial farm Senna or the starve Senna. It's always a fun mini game to play. Will she take
zero CS Senna?
Yeah, will she take no creeps or will she take a third of the creeps? Always a mystery. Always fun to find out. Either way, it's a good build, and it makes sure that Kench can get the items that he wants. So it's always fun to see new developments in the meta, except when it's on a champion that's been picked every game we've ever seen for the last 4 months. And then it's a little less exciting. But hey, we take those.
And first part of the phase has gone through. Tahm Kench is going to round this off, which is going to make the lane quite safe, but definitely more on the defensive side, at least when Ezreal gets going, when he's able to get that tier as well as the Sheen, the pushing advantage should go there. So it's going to be a lot of early momentum over on the side of Blast Plant Down, especially with the Lulu into the Kench combo. You do have that ranged versus melee matchup, which can be quite abusable, especially someone who has as much poke as Lulu. More bans coming in. Yasuo and LeBlanc taken off the map, as well as Lee Sin get that early jungling out of the way.
Yeah, Hypnotic Gaming with their first 3 picks clearly just want to sit back and scale. That's everything that their comp says to me. Now they want to sit back, scale, and then run it, blast plant down with that Kled lock in. So getting rid of any early pressure or anything that might be able to punish them, always good. A Lee Sin, he's always been in the meta. He's always been a viable option. He can go invade. He can take over the jungle with a little bit of skill. They're scared of Schmitty's Lee Sin, so they're not going to let it happen. It's a reasonable ban, especially when jungle both haven't been locked in. So now we see some jungle picks, finally.
Oh man, look at Hypnotic's comp so far. It's screaming engage. It's screaming some of the nastiest engage you could possibly see. The charge, as well as the Call of the Forge God, working in tandem with the Senna ult as well to grant that shield. There's so much protection, there's so much engage, but what we're going to need to see out of Hypnotic Gaming is going to be more damage to really start to back that up. So definitely going to be keeping a close eye on that final pick as Rek'Sai gets locked in.
Yeah, and another important thing to note with the Mordekaiser is that if Mordekaiser ults Senna, Kench cannot help her. When you're in the Death Realm, it is mono. That's a 1v1. There is no frog tummy to go to safety into because you are in the Death Realm. There is no catfish there. So
get that Vor out of here, man.
Even with the Kench on the team, we're going to have to see the Senna picking up a QSS, most likely to avoid dying to the Mordekaiser. So a pick like Cassiopeia is a great way to round out the comp and make sure that there's enough DPS to burn through these rather chunky members of Blast Plant down. Mordekaiser gets bulky, Vladimir gets bulky, so does Rek'Sai. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on this Cassiopeia to melt them down in team fights because Senna and Ornn and Kench, not known for their real tank shredding DPS, they're a lot better at dealing with squishies, which isn't going to be quite as influential in a game against Lulu Ezreal, where Ezreal probably wants to build an Iceborne Gauntlet, and then Lulu can keep him alive even longer with that wild growth.
And of course, one of the big things is going to be the lane priority and how that does go through, because when you have someone like Rek'Sai, you are looking for something a bit more aggressive. The Queen does do a lot of damage now, way away from her tank days. She kind of acts as this pseudo-assassin, especially in the early game. So having any early priority would be huge for Blast Plant when it comes to the early jungle.
Yeah, they absolutely need to win this game early. They're looking to snowball. Hypnotic Gaming is looking to sit back and scale. Cassiopeia, late game. Senna, late game. Ornn, late game. So all they're doing is trying to just take it chill, take it slow. They're going to relax, take a load off, maybe have a sip of their coffee. Hot chocolate even. You don't even need caffeine. You're really playing it at a leisurely pace. Grab some blankets, curl up next to the fireplace, open a book, read it. 35 minutes later, you run at them with Kled once and win the game.
See, that's the thing. Are they going to get enough time to have that 30-minute nap? Because there is a little bit of scaling that goes on for Blast Plant, but it spikes more in the mid game. If they're able to get a strong enough lead, it could negate a lot of the momentum Hypnotic want to take into that late game state. And as I said, you can't get caught slipping against this team.
Yeah, and there are still threats on Blast Plant down even in the late game. Ezreal is not exactly a slouch later on. Once he gets his Mirror Mana complete and he's stacked, he can do decent amount of damage. Those Qs poke, they hurt. Vladimir, of course, a late game monster with one good ultimate. He can melt through an entire team. And Mordekaiser always has that utility in fights where he can ult pretty much anyone on Hypnotic Gaming and 1v1 them in the Death Realm. So there's still ways for Blast Plant down to win if it gets later, but the ease of execution certainly lies with Hypnotic Gaming.
Yeah, it's still rough though. I still see it that way. Just because Hypnotic, they're relying more on tanky stats than anything to get them early through. To get them through the early phases of the game, but that means you're possibly giving up a lot of strong neutral objectives that can give influxes of gold, like the Rift Herald, like the Dragons. That is where things kind of get shaky for Hypnotic Gaming. Can they really just keep this evened out? Because even if they keep it evened out going into the mid game, that's a huge plus for Hypnotic Gaming.
Yeah, anything that slows the game down or trades is a win for Hypnotic. So we're going to need to see Blast Plant down playing aggressive and playing to snowball. They don't want to be trading 2 for 2 or like trading 3 kills for Dragon. They want to take 3 kills and the Dragon. And if they can do that, then they'll be well on their way. Actually, I really don't like the Vladimir pick with that in mind. I think when you see the Ornn and Senna, you have to embrace the early game identity and probably pick something that'll do better in early game. Vlad is, of course, a Kled counter pick. The pool is very, very good into Kled. It makes it very hard for Kled to cheat. Actually, do I have that wrong? Do I have it backwards? We're gonna have to find out. I'm not sure if the Kled hook works when Vlad is pooled.
A lot of tethers still definitely work, and I'm pretty sure the Kled one does as well. I know Fiddle's Drain definitely still works when he's in pool. So I'm pretty sure as long as you lock it in early, it'll still go through.
I had to go check on some stats. Yes, that's a very bad lane for Vladimir. We have
Goodbye.
a 50 in statistics. In statistics land, brought to you by our lovely sponsor, U.GG. Kled actually has a 55% win rate into Vladimir. So Blast Plant Down with their last pick have actually counterpicked themselves in this. Well, I say it's top lane, but it's Vlad mid into Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
Probably should have paid attention to it.
Well, honestly, I'm still not the biggest fan of it as well, just because this is a really beefy team to go against, and it's going to be very hard to get some damage into it. Cassiopeia versus Vlad tends to be a little bit even until Cassio starts turning on, and then she can get that sustained damage. So, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this Vlad pick.
No, I agree with that. I think Blast Went Down need to win through bot lane here. That's what I imagine is what they'll try to do. Senna Kench doesn't really have the greatest lane presence or pressure, so if Rek'Sai can go pop up, they blow a summoner on the Kench, they focus the Kench down and some repeat ganks, they get bot lane control, they get bot lane priority, they secure some dragons, and a Dragon Soul is a very nice thing to fall back to, even if you're getting into the late game. It's just you take one dragon, you've got the soul, and then you've got some permanent strength. That'll help you kind of keep toe-to-toe with Hypnotic Gaming scaling, so that's, I think, a very reasonable approach. Mordekaiser, we'll see if he takes TP as well. That'll also help with that.
I don't know. I think the big approach for Blast Plant Down is just tempo. Tempo. You got to keep it going. Get that deficit going. Get those lanes shoved. Try and get those early towers, because there's going to be so much priority over Shelly as well for this Rek'Sai. That is something that has to be exploited. That early influx of gold is what can shut down Hypnotic Gaming.
Yeah, plates are going to be very, very juicy. They're nice and tasty. You get that super satisfying ding when you hit the turret, and they give you money. Who doesn't love money?
Oh, we all definitely do love money. We do love a good meal. And in order to ingest this full match of League, we have to throw it over to a short break to prepare it for the Rift. We'll be right back with more Risen Esports.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear, like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun, running, no. Hold on, don't let go.
unstoppable league. Headed to the Rift right now. Hypnotic Gaming versus Blast Plant down. Teams are ready. We've had a little bit of back and forth with this. You know, there definitely is a preference over towards Hypnotic Gaming's composition, but once again, you do have that execution factor. It is a very R-dependent comp, and it also is a comp that needs a bit of time to get online. But if they can find that, they can find an easy win.
Yeah, it's like we said, hot cocoa, blankets, sitting back, farming waves, sitting under your turret.
Yes.
Something to look out for is lack of wave clear, especially when your Senna isn't going to be farming, because we do see the Spectral Sickle picked up. It's a fun one to try to pronounce without messing up when you're on a stream.
Say it 5 times fast.
No.
Spectral Sickle. Oh, God.
See, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. And you mess up, and then you end up saying something you didn't want to say, and then the stream gets demonetized, and then you get fired from your job, and it's all downhill from there. And all you were trying to say was Spectral Sickle. It's no good.
And Hypnotic Viper, all the meanwhile, not really liking that too much as he falls to about half health already before the laning starts, and the minion's already too far in, so he's going to have to come to lane as this, so going to give a small little bit of advantage over the Blast Plant.
Yeah, the nice thing, though, is that when you are going the Spectral Sickle Senna, it's getting worse. You can just keep alliterating.
Why do you got to say that all together?
You do get 2 health potions instead of 1, so it does make sustaining in the lane a little easier. It looks like we are also getting the 33% farm Senna, where she takes 2 melee minions every wave, but no more than that. So that'll balance the elements of gold gain and soul gain at the same time. It also still allows Kench to be a very strong boy because he gets his items.
Good old buff Kench. Let him just act as if he's a top laner. You know, it's no longer the support role when you're with the Senna. You get a nice juicy amount of income, but taking a look at the pathing of the jungler is always there, is going to start over towards the blue side, making his way over towards top side. There's a lot of lane priority coming out from Great Chase so far. So I do wonder where he's going to end with this pathing, because they are pushing in. You can get a lot of harassment.
Yeah, and we see that Blast Plant Down actually do have bot lane exactly where they want it right now. So you already get the Senna flash.
Yeah, already getting the knock up on the Viper. And Viper, first blood, straight going to be the feast of Chondro. He's able to get some more damage in, but gets too close to the tower all meanwhile. So it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
I think he could have gotten out, and he just turned around for a moment and said, you know, that turret, that first shot, it hurt so good. Why don't I take a second one?
Take a second sippy. Why not, you know, just try and chat it out. Show that you can do it. Your boys are just leading you on. That's when you realize, you know, you shouldn't have had someone hold your beer in that case.
Still a good trade for Blast Plant Down, I think. Getting the kill on the Senna, burning her flash, and forcing her back to base so early is a big advantage. They also get to crash a wave, so Ezreal gets to farm a little bit while the creeps start denying them. They're actually not going to crash the wave. I said they could, and they didn't, so that's a little unfortunate, but still. First blood, Rek'Sai getting a little bit ahead, blowing some summoners. That's a good opportunity for repeat ganks.
And it's very hard to get away from a Kled. The bear trap on a rope, pulling him in, gets knocked up thanks to Always There, and already forced to recall. The wave is pushing in as well, so this might force out the teleport nice and early.
Yeah, so it's the same thing on the other side of the map. There's no kills being traded this time, but you do still get that summoner setting up future ganks. Looks like the junglers are going to be working on opposite sides of the map here, with Ornn blowing a summoner in the top lane. He's going to want to go back and punish that Mordekaiser, because a Kled and an Ornn into a flashless Mordekaiser, that's a free kill every time Ornn makes his way up into the top lane. And similarly in that bot lane, with 4 summoners down, Rek'Sai shows up, and Senna and Kench are just going to die. So we'll see who can absorb the pressure harder. Schmitty's going to need to be playing very safe this game. He isn't actually teleporting back to lane either. He's just going to walk up. It didn't get there in time. But it's an interesting imbalance on the map that we already have to work with.
Yeah, and choosing to walk back to lane, he is going to drop quite a bit of CS, but because Great Jace wasn't pushing, it's not going to be as substantial as it would normally be, because you don't got that tower stealing away the minions. As you have a Rek'Sai try to steal away your mid laner. Look for a gank in the mid lane, fight going on in top all. Meanwhile, no summoner is going to be burnt this time.
Yeah, a lot of things going down on the map right there. Smitty just fighting for his life as a wave crashes into his turret. Getting a little bit eager, trying to go out and last hit when the wave's going to hit his turret anyway. If you're a top lane main and your opponent has 17 creeps in the middle of the wave, just sit back, buddy. You'll be fine. But
and look at this, getting a little pincered out over in the river, all meanwhile, is always there. So harassment goes on in the bot lane.
yeah, we've got lots of trading, but not a whole lot coming from it right now.
Oh, he's focused straight onto the bot lane right now. Chantro not getting the better of this. Instead, he's going to be rooted up, always there, able to build some room, get there in time, find the knock-up. Chantro, not in a nice place, always there, we'll find it.
And so here we see a jungler who knows, I should gank bot lane, I should gank bot lane, I should be bot lane all the time. I blew their summoners. And when you do that and then you force it just a little too hard, you push in, you fight in the middle of 17 minions, you take a ton of damage from those, the other jungler shows up to counter gank you, suddenly you're overextended and everything goes wrong for Chandro. It was a good idea in theory, but it just wasn't right in execution. They tried to force that gank a little too hard and then they pay the price. That's huge for Hypnotic Gaming because they're also going to be able to leverage a dragon out of this, assuming always there doesn't miss smite.
It's time to cash in, and cashing in early is what you want on Hypnotic Gaming because we talked about that scaling from earlier. This could lead to a snowball effect right here, just having all that gold, getting your characters online, getting them just 2 item spikes, and as well as a Cloud Drake, when you have so many good ultimates, it's really looking good for Hypnotic Gaming in the early game.
Yeah, you have to like the way this game is going so far for them. Their bot lane isn't even behind. They've actually got a more cumulative CS because the Kench is last hitting very effectively, in all honesty. Senna's still getting, you know, a few minions here and there, not actually going for the 1/3 farm anymore. We saw it in the first wave, but it's stopped since then. But the Ornn is ahead. The mid lane Cassio has a tiny little lead. All things are turning up Hypnotic, and that first dragon's the biggest thing because it denies the early soul from Blast Plant down. They can't just rush down 4 dragons and get a soul at 25, 30 minutes. Instead, they're going to have to be a little behind, and their snowball and timer on this game has gotten a lot longer.
A lot of focus on the top side. Great Chase really trying to bring it to Schmitty. As you know, with the Mordekaiser, he does need at least 1 item before he can really be effective in lane against anyone. And Great Chase is really punishing that, really trying to get as much advantage as he can. And because of that, you can see the CS lead. He's starting to grow over the last 7 minutes.
Yeah, and this is where you see that first gank from Always There paying dividends. The Ornn hasn't been able to make it up to top lane since we saw that, but it's still been a flashless Mordekaiser in lane, and he's had to play respectful, because if Ornn is there, then playing aggressive does result in a death. And so this Kled gets to run all over him, knowing if I mess up, I can just walk away. Like, Mordekaiser can't chase me down with flash, and Mordekaiser on the opposite side has to say, okay, like, if I have to run away, I'm flashless, Kled isn't. He can run me down, and if he chooses a fight, then I'm in trouble. So it's just that lane pressure from the gank and some better laning. Kled, a stronger early game champion. His W just does so much damage. He can get the 4 autos off. And Mordekaiser being an immobile champion means that he can't really walk away from it.
And Chandra really hasn't been able to have much of an effect early than the earlier kill that he got. He really needs to start to have an impact on this map because his lanes are starting to fall behind, but Always There just might always be in the face of Chandra. He's able to find him in the river, looking to get the knock-up. A lot of damage goes through, and here comes the charge as well. On to Chandra, over the wall. Call the Forge God, gonna ring out as well. The knockup will get the kill. Always There, able to score it.
Excellent play from Hypnotic Gaming and Always There. Anticipating that the Rek'Sai would be up on the top side of the map. You have the priority from the Kled lane. I'm gonna have to stop talking for a moment here because we have a fight going down.
This is a simple story right now.
Man. And Schmitty goes down too. He didn't get the recall. He didn't help his jungler. He gets
in his own Shadow Realm.
Everyone is sad. Everything is going poorly for Blast
And
Plant
nowhere
down.
is safe, because now in the mid lane a fight's breaking out. Free Scarf able to flash forward and take down Silver Karma. And just like that, Hypnotic Gaming, they're in a great place right now. 1 in 5. They've amounted about a 2.5k lead this early. That is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, and we can't even talk about what's going wrong for Blast Plant down because things keep going wrong while we're trying to talk about what's going wrong. We saw Lulu almost die. We saw the double kill go down in the top lane. We saw a solo kill in the mid lane. It's just all downhill for Blast Plant down. And oh no, free scruff, not like this.
Finally, they're able to get something off of that, though. Just a well-placed Prey Seeker ends into a Void Rush. It's going to be a kill picked up. It's going to be on the Trondro, but again, it's not onto any of the other lanes. These lanes that you need to have carry you for the mid game.
Yeah, it's all the kills going down onto a Rek'Sai, and the Rek'Sai is going into a composition with Ornn and Kench and Kled. Rek'Sai's never going to do anything on her own. You need Vladimir to dive with the Rek'Sai. You need a Mordekaiser who can be strong enough to 1v1. And instead, while that kill's going down to Rek'Sai, always there on the Ornn, takes the Rift Herald, and they're just going to drop a top lane. There's already 2 plates down in the top turret, so this Herald is actually likely going to take the entire first turret at 10 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good amount of gold. Going.
Yeah. This is what Blast Plant Down needed to do to win this game. They're on the receiving end of their win condition with a comp that scales a whole lot better in the hands of Hypnotic Gaming.
Now that they're falling behind at this point, it's already starting to look over. And I hate to be that pessimistic this early, but you just said it. It's a scaling comp over on Hypnotic Gaming. What can you really do when you don't get that dream start? You need to have those plays come in very, very soon. The queen needs to make moves. She needs to start impeding onto her royal subjects.
Yeah, and everywhere Rek'Sai's been in the last 7-8 minutes, Ornn has been right along with it. We saw the gank bot lane, where the Ornn just counter-ganked 5 or 6 seconds after the Rek'Sai went in. Then we saw the top lane play, or Rek'Sai just tried to walk into the river, and Kled had so much priority that Hypnotic Gaming were able to take the fight, chase down the Rek'Sai, and kill her inside her own jungle, and then dive because they knew that there was no more jungler to back up the Mordekaiser. So tons and tons of advantages coming out of the Ornn, just following and tracking the Rek'Sai. It's been really excellent jungle play from Always There, and it's working out for Hypnotic Gaming.
And look at the jungle control coming out now towards that neutral objective. Once again, it's going to be the Mountain Drake this time. Always There is there, and so is Great Jace. Call the Forge God coming from over the wall, looking to get the knock up onto Kama. Kama goes down to free Scuff, and now Schmitty is trying to run away, but he's facing 3 members. Going to send one to the Shadow Realm, but it's Great Jace. Great Jace wants to take that fight as another knockup goes through on the Chondro. Chondro looking to find the Void Rush, but falls to free Scarfall. Meanwhile, Great Jace is still continuing the fight, but Blast Plant down. They're losing all their members. It's going to be an ace going through, and Hypnotic Gaming, they're off to the races.
That's a 5-for-0 ace. Blast Plant Down didn't only lose the dragon, they lost every single member of their team. They get nothing for it.
I think
everything about that fight went poorly. The Death Realm, the Kled 1v1 the Mordekaiser. Because the Mordekaiser was in the Death Realm, Chandro had to go in for the 1v2 versus the Ornn and Cassiopeia. That just melted the Rek'Sai down. Jace comes out of the Death Realm, kills the Mordekaiser, gets the remount right before dying, and then he's able to run down the Blast Plant Down bot lane. It couldn't have gone better for Hypnotic Gaming there. I mean, you said it was getting close to over before that fight happened, but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Coco,
12 minutes, 7K.
Yeah, this is a dominant early game from Hypnotic Gaming. This is impressive, honestly.
They picked the Ornn. It's not nerfed enough, apparently.
Yeah, Ornn's late game was too strong, so what we decided to do instead was have him get 6 kills in the first 13 minutes of a game as a jungler.
I'm actually curious about these changes. I'm pulling them up right now because I want to see what the hell is going on.
The only change to Ornn is that they
Living Forge.
Yeah, his items come in a little later. It's 1 level later across the board.
So he's still clapping cheeks.
Yeah. He's the same damage. He's the same utility. He just gets his upgraded items a little later than he used to. So he's still strong. The idea is to delay that scaling ramp up time a little longer and allow like an early game team to punish him by having an extra level where they can fight him before he gets the Abyssal Mass upgrade and has 9 billion magic resist. But unfortunately, not going to be happening this game.
In fact, taking a look at the mid lane right now, Hemoplague's going to go off, but a double Petrifying Gaze finds its mark. Now here comes the retaliation coming out of Hypnotic Gaming as the charge is able to come into the mid lane, going after Chondro, sinking in the fangs. Scruff will fall. A little bit of an assist coming out of Always There, and the pressure is on in the mid lane. Hypnotic Gaming will just not let go this relentless aggression.
I think Free Scruff could have just won that 1v2 solo. I don't think the Kled even needed to be there to guarantee that kill. It's great for Great Jace to be there, but you saw how low the Rek'Sai and Vladimir were getting just from trying to fight that Cassiopeia. It was a terrible idea. What were they going to do? Dive the Cassiopeia? As soon as the Petrifying Gaze comes out, it's all over. The Vladimir gets that W underneath his feet. He's not able to flash away. He has no mobility anymore. And then Cassiopeia just gets to melt him down. He's walking back in, and he's already in trouble again.
Great Jace feeling more, looking to go after Schmitty. Schmitty sending him to the Death Realm, and looks like he's going to get the better of it at last. He's able to take down his lane opponent, but this fight's not over just yet. Queen's able to find a kill in the mid lane onto Always There. All meanwhile, looks like Blast Plan are starting to come back with this fight, but Kama, you're too low, my friend. Still gonna drop. Free Scuff is gonna pick up 2 off the back of that, and he's not done. He wants Schmitty as well. He wants to make it a triple kill. Schmitty running for his life down the mid lane. A slither of health remains, but Free Scuff will not be able to slither his way over towards that kill.
Yeah, again, things were going okay. It was not great, but it was okay. They were getting kills.
Okay.
Like, Blast Plant down, it was like, yeah, you're going back in the game. And as soon as they kill a couple members of Hypnotic Gaming, they decide, okay, now that we've got a couple kills, how about we keep chasing and die? That's a good idea, right?
One by one by one by one.
Yeah, Cassiopeia as a champion is very good at kiting. I mean, it's not the don't chase Singe tier of kiting, but she can run back as soon as she gets her Q. She gets that movement speed. She can run a little faster away. Her E pass so quickly that she gets to do damage to you, and then you're just all dead. You're all dead.
I like how Chandro is now traumatized to the fact that he will only get a knockup, not even auto after, just walks away. That's how bad the state of the game is, where your jungler is now terrified of every other lane that pumps into her own jungle.
I'm not saying the Tahm Kench support could 1v1 that Rek'Sai, but with a Dead Man's Plate completed, the Tahm Kench support might be able to 1v1 that Rek'Sai.
Oh no, here we go. Great chase. Caught out by himself. It's going to be 3 members of Blast Plan who are able to surround him. A 4th over the wall. Schmitty grabs the kill. They're just still going to continue, though. Try to get some momentum over their own jungle that Hypnotic Gaming have just been controlling for a majority of this game.
Yeah, it's a little overeager from Great Jace there. He's strong, but not that strong. Being alone in the enemy jungle by yourself. It's not surprising to run into a few hostile enemies there. They're going to say, hey, Kled, what are you doing in here? You don't have any flash. And they're able to clean him up. They do lose the Rift Herald while that's going down. Oh, another fight
trying
breaking
to put the bait
out.
in. Here comes the Petrifying Gaze. The knockup comes through, and the health bars are just melting from Blast Plan right now. Always there. Not going to find the knockup this time. Schmitty trying to finish the job, but it's going to be Free Scruff who's running rampant all over this map, claiming member after member. A shutdown does go through. Schmitty will pick up a kill for Blast Plan. Going to be a 2-for-2 exchange so far. The Free Scruff is still up. That is the member you need to take down. That is who you need to hunt, and that is who they're not getting. Free Scuff goes legendary. Still trying to claim more kills. With low health even, he's going for this. I think that's a little bit too much now, Free Scruff, but he really started to feel it. Will finally go down, and Blink is able to grab the kill this time. A juicy shutdown off a legendary Scruff.
Hypnotic Viper's Dawning Shadow almost came in and saved Free Scruff's life. But yeah, that Cassiopeia is just too strong. You kill the Cassiopeia, but the downside of that is that she gets to go back to base and shop after killing your entire team.
Yeah, she left her with 6 kills. She's now at the shop with 10.
Yeah, and that Cassiopeia is at 3 completed items. No boots necessary. You're not allowed to buy them, so you just get to go right in. The Liandry's and Rylai's combo, great for burning down targets with high health. With Mordekaiser building a Rylai's, Rek'Sai has health. This Cassiopeia is just going to hurt. There's really no way around it. It's terrifying, and they're just not able to kill Free Scruff. They get onto him in fights, and then the Petrifying Gaze comes down, and that's curtains for Blast Plant down every time. Now we see a Dragon Take going down where Free Scruff isn't on the map, so we'll see how this turns out.
Yeah, it's a 4v3 as well, so Kama feeling some of the momentum here, going for the backline, trying to find Viper, has to flash away, but the other members of Hypnotic are able to show up, and that's going to be Scruff who joins the fray. Chandro will pick up a kill on Viper, but Blast Plant, their hubris bit them in the backside last time. Let's see if they're able to find some momentum now. Still going in, Petrifying Gaze will whip. Chandro onto Free Scruff. Free Scruff running critically low as the Fall of the Forge God comes out. It's still going to be Hypnotic's fight as they're able to slowly crawl their way back and make this a 1-for-4 exchange. It felt so much closer, but that is the power of Hypnotic as they're able to grab the Ocean Drake.
Yeah, that's the gold lead in action there, right? I think everything about that fight was executed a little bit better by Blast Plant down, and props to them for it. They were able to get the advantageous numbers up front. They were able to chase down and kill a couple members of Hypnotic Gaming, but the lead is just so massive at this point that despite the fact that they get the execution, despite the fact that they're fighting while Free Scruff is still in base walking into the fight, They're just not able to convert quite hard enough. The damage isn't there. Their tankiness isn't there. And there's just so much. The Cassiopeia ult whiffs, and it just doesn't matter. There's too much damage they can't overcome in a 5v5 setting.
Yeah, this is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
There's not much you can really say about that. I mean, you have hope for Blast Plant. You start to see the potential there, and then it crumbles. Just like that. It's pretty sad.
It looked good. It looked really good. In a game where the gold lead wasn't this big, they would have won that fight and secured the dragon 99 times out of 100. But unfortunately, this is the 100th game in which they're down 11k gold.
Oh, and now here we go, trying to find a fight, but it's not going to look for good for Schmitty, as always there, is able to take him down. And now Shelly able to join the fray, dismantling the tower as well as the Vladimir. Free Scruff grabbing that kill call. The Forge God going to go wide. Tongue goes out, and now Chandro in a bad spot. So is the rest of the squad, as Blake is going to fall as well. Underneath the tower, Modelo doesn't care. He's going to drink a beer as well as eat the Rek'Sai and walk on out of that one. 4 down, no response from Blast Plant.
Hey, yes, Rix, you remember when I said that the Tom Kench might be able to 1v1 the Rek'Sai?
Yeah.
He just 1v1 the Rek'Sai under an inhibitor turret, tanking inhibitor turret aggro. I wasn't just right, I was very right. That's all I'm going to say. A very convincing game 1 win from Hypnotic Gaming. Nothing went wrong here, other than a couple missed petrifying gazes. You see another one not land, but Blast went down, they're in their fountain.
Oh, yeah. They just don't care. The Rift is not enough, the base is not enough. They want the spawn as well. They're going to have to make do with the Nexus taking game number 1 of this best of 3.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how Blast Plant Down can bounce back because, I mean, I don't want to sound too harsh, but they did not look like the better team in that game, and they're going to need to pull out something dramatically differently if they want to take this series back and win game 2 to force a game 3.
And I got to say, I think a lot of this can change just based off draft alone. If they're able to change up their draft and start to go towards some of those more meta picks, not trying to first pick a Lulu off of your first pick on blue side, it's not something that's going to work out well, and that's what we saw right there.
Yeah, and you probably need a more dominant mid lane pick. Vladimir's there to scale. You want something in the mid lane that can punish a Cassiopeia, that can punish any kind of scaling pick in the mid lane. Try to get some priority and then work with the Rek'Sai to snowball the game from there. I think Vladimir is just a little too passive and slow. It doesn't come online early enough. By the time Vlad's online, the Ornn is online too, and then he's not doing as much damage because these Ornn upgrades start coming in. We didn't even see an Ornn upgrade that game. That's how quickly it ended.
I mean, we saw the potential there, though, Coleslaw.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some team fight prowess over on Blast Plant Down, but that gold lead, that was pretty much it. Even looking at the damage charts right now, Free Scruff, you were talking about how he could just 1v2, 1v3, even 1v4. He's carrying almost all the damage over on Hypnotic Gaming. It shows you just how dominant he was.
Yeah, so Blast Plant Down, I agree. They can team fight. They showed that they know how to do the team macro game. They just need to get through the early game without being down 10k gold at 15 minutes. And that's going to require a different draft or a different approach, not forcing so many ganks. But we'll see how it goes. Until then, though, I believe we'll be taking a break and coming back to you for draft in game 2 in just a moment.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Risen Esports Unstoppable League, week number 4. Hypnotic Gaming versus Plant Down. Game number 1 already went underway. We saw what happened. Hypnotic Gaming absolutely dominant. We saw some life out of Blast Plant, and we feel like, we talked about it before the break, that if they can shape up their draft, there might be a chance.
Yeah, and they need to shape up their draft, shape up the early game, try not to force things quite as hard as they did. We saw some ganks where Chandro wanted to go in, wanted to really make something happen, and then always there was there to punish for the overextension, and then things went south very, very quickly. And if we don't have those overforced ganks, then maybe Blast Plant Down can hold on a little bit better in the early game. We saw some team fighting promise out of them. When they're not down so much gold, team fighting go better. We see some bans that are quite similar, and then one adaptation. The mist ban is a Leona, and then we see the Cassiopeia ban, probably wise after we saw what Free Scruff did to them on Cassiopeia in game 1.
But they left open the legend, man. Ornn is going to be hitting the Rift, very first pick. And I mean, we talked about why it's such a big thing, and that is that flexibility. You can put it into any single lane. In the last game, we saw it in the jungle. We used to always know it as the top lane god. Well, it's all right being in your mid lane. It's all right being in your bot lane as well. It's such a flexible pick that gives up so little information.
Yeah, and again, it just gives you the late game insurance policy. Ornn's upgrades across an entire team can amount to 4,000, 5,000 gold. And it's slot efficient too, because once everyone's 6 items, that's still a 4,000 or 5,000 gold lead that matters because the other team doesn't have access to those stats. So Ornn just great all the time, especially early in the draft. You don't know where he's going, you don't know what he's doing. He was great in the jungle last game with Rek'Sai picked up by Blast Plant down. I'd imagine if I'm Hypnotic Gaming that I'm perfectly happy to repeat that jungle matchup. It went so well in game 1. Almost no reason not to go run it back. Similarly, we see the bot lane picks coming in for Hypnotic Gaming with Senna already locked in. I'd imagine it'll be a Kench this time too, and they're just going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm expecting the same exact order as well. Na'Vi getting locked in on the side of Blast Plan, I just don't like it. They have such a focus on grabbing an early Enchanter support when it's not really the big thing to be prioritizing against, and it's not going to be the Kench this time. It's going to be the J4, and it was something that was banned in stage 2 of the draft that Blast Plant would not let Hypnotic have. So now Hypnotic, they feel much more comfortable grabbing that at this stage.
Well, and so that tells us as well that the Ornn likely is going to be going into one of the 2 solo lanes. Jarvan does have that kind of off-meta meme flex potential, but in all likelihood, that's jungle. So we'll see Ornn in a lane. It could be Ornn support too. You never know. But yeah, into a team that's drafting Dr. Mundo.
Huh.
That's a pick. That's a champion that exists in League of Legends.
Yeah, I mean, there's comfort picks, there's pocket picks and all that, but at some point, you got to realize you got to play for the meta and the way it's going, because Mundo itself is very counterable. You're talking about the top lane right now, because there's not much else where this Mundo can go for, unless you're looking to do something extremely tacky, which I highly doubt. You're asking for chaos right there. You're asking to get stomped on. You're giving up too much information too early in your draft and not really counterpicking.
Yeah, and so Schmitty in the top lane is a Mundo main, and that's why we see it. We also see a Kench ban, so Plasma Town are kind of getting what they want to go for. Kench denies Senna that safe laning phase. They have their top lane on their main comfort pick. They have a support on a champion that they're good at. It's something for them, but as you said, Mundo is very, very counterable. Grievous wounds do enough to him, and then there's just champions like Yorick, who pretty much do what Mundo wants to do, but better. Yorick can just kill Mundo all the time. His ult gives him more damage. Mundo can't kill the Maiden. Mundo can't survive all that max health damage that Yorick puts down during a fight. And then there's champions like Kennen and Camille and Kled even, who has Grievous Wounds built into his kit, who can just punish a Mundo pick by countering it. So that Mundo showing up so early is dangerous. And I don't think if I was last went down that I would be worried about it getting banned.
Oh.
And there's the Kled, as we suggested. Kled should do perfectly fine in that lane and win it with relative ease. If the Kled Mordekaiser lane wasn't good, the Kled Mundo lane likely will not be any better.
And that's another head scratcher for me, because as you said, you talked about the Grievous Wounds on Kled. Your red side, you should know that you saw Great Chase plays it. You know he plays the Kled. why not ban it away in the second part of the draft? Why not ban away your hard counter picks? Instead, they're banning away the Kench, the Rumble's being picked up this time, and LeBlanc gets banned away. This is hurting so much when it comes to just trying to play out a draft the right way, because they're giving so much information up. They're allowing themselves to be counterpicked. And they're getting more on the priority of what Hypnotic wants to play rather than what they might draft in response to Blast Plant. And Ezreal's going to round this out.
Yeah, and so one of the other curious things from Blast Plant Down is how they did use that last pick. When you're red side, that last pick is your counter pick. It's universally best used for a solo lane where a counter pick can dramatically influence how a lane goes. Blast Plant Down has known it's going to be Senna bot lane the entire draft. They've known after their first two champions of Nami and Rek'Sai, Mundo was locked in knowing it was Senna, Akali was locked in knowing it was Senna, and then Ezreal was locked in Senna. They could have locked in Ezreal way earlier, and then they would have had a counter pick, and they would have been able to pick a solo lane with knowledge of who they were going against. Instead, they lock in Mundo. The Mundo gets counterpicked by Kled, and then they lock in Akali, and then the Akali gets counterpicked by Rumble. The only lane where they haven't actually counterpicked for themselves is in the bot lane, where Senna was locked in first because she's a priority pick, and she should do just fine into Ezreal Nami. With an Ornn support as well. There's not too much to worry about. That's not a dramatic amount of kill pressure. So Blast Plant Down gives up so much information, and they don't use any of the information Hypnotic Gaming is forced to give them by the way draft is structured.
Yeah, and this is just a head scratcher right now, because I really do want to believe in Blast Plant off of that game number one, off of the way they were able to cleverly team fight some of these. But you're gonna have a repeat in game number two. You're gonna have that same falter in the early game, and when you finally come together as a team to try and take a team fight, you're gonna be too far behind. That's what this composition is screaming to me. Shades of game number one.
And the other thing to consider is that team compositions on a whole is that Blast Plant Down's composition doesn't do a whole lot. Akali really only brings damage to the table. Mundo really only brings damage to the table. Ezreal is all damage. There's no hard CC on any of those champions. There's a couple slows, but that's all they've got. Rek'Sai has the one knockup. Nami is all of their utility. And if you're depending on a Nami support to carry a team fight's worth of utility, it's not going to work. You compare that to Hypnotic Gaming, who have all of the hard engage on Ornn. They have the Jarvan engage, the Kled engage. The Equalizer from Rumble does all of the damage that Blast Plant Down has, and it gets the slow on top of it. So even their team fight in this game just doesn't look that promising. They need to snowball again because they just don't have utility. They don't have a way to hard engage, whereas Hypnotic Gaming do. Hypnotic will be able to dictate where and when fights happen, and Blast Plant Down will not. There's no way for them to get onto someone other than just dashing at them or popping Mundo R and saying, I'm running at you now. Please don't use your CC on me.
And one of the other things that stands out is always there was on the Ornn last time, and Ornn is not exactly the most efficient jungler, but he is one of those that are valid just because of Ornn's flexibility. Now always there is on J4. Now he can have a much more immediate impact, because J4 from level 2 on, he's a threat. Flag and drag, you don't even need level 4 to be able to start doing some of the big plays. So there's going to be so much more map pressure coming out of Hypnotic Gaming.
Now, it is worth mentioning that Rek'Sai does do relatively well into Jarvan in skirmishes, because Rek'Sai is able to get the knockup on Jarvan while flagging and dragging. It still does go through, but it will stop him from going to behind the Rek'Sai. And that's a big important difference there. So Rek'Sai can kind of deny Jarvan the opportunity to get on top of the rest of the team if the Rek'Sai is there first. But it's such a minor thing. I have to give this draft to Hypnotic Gaming. I think they have early game and I think they have late game. Like maybe the Akali one item power spike is where Hypnotic Gaming have something. And oh, I'm sorry. I didn't remember the fact that Rumble Senna is a bot lane combination. Welcome to League of Legends in 2020, folks.
Yeah, welcome.
The Senna's not farming. The Rumble is farming. That is a Rumble bot lane and an Ornn mid. It's not Ornn support.
And the other big thing about it is that lane pushes like a mofo.
Yeah.
So we saw what happened in game number one when the Ez Lulu was pushed in. It's going to be so much different this time. There's going to be so much priority for always there when it comes to the jungle pressure.
Yeah, Rumble with the Flame Spitter going on the wave. He doesn't have to worry about Senna wanting to farm. He just gets to push. He gets to barbecue some minions. And then once the minions are dead, he gets to barbecue some fish. And then you've got some nicely grilled fish for dinner.
And it's a party in the bot lane. Just, bring my favorite movie, Space Jam. J4's got it with the dunk. So we got it all. Dinner and a movie over in the bot lane. That's definitely the caster prediction of how it's going to play out.
Yeah, there will be some fried fish on the menu today.
I'm hoping right now that Blast Plant still can pull something out, though, because it was said earlier that Schmitty is a Dr. Mundo 1 trick. I'm hoping some of this comfort can translate. It's a very rough thing, but it is possible. There are those, freak conditions in which things somehow play out well, and you reacted the right way, but you don't know why you did. That's all I can really hope for in this one for Blast Plant to be able to be competitive.
It's always possible, All it takes is a little bit of greed, someone turret diving when they shouldn't, and things can go out of control from there. You never want to say never in League of Legends. With shutdown gold, with just mistakes, they happen. Like no one in this game is going to be playing at a perfect level. This is not Faker playing all 10 champions in this game, so we'll see mistakes, and it's just about capitalizing on them and being on a champion that you're comfortable on and you know your limits. You might know when you can capitalize on mistakes a little bit better, and that can help out in a game where you lost lane so hard game one. You say, hey, let's just try it on my main and see if I can't work things out a little bit more in game two.
So you know what? The casters are kind of pooping on you right now, Blast Plant. So please prove us wrong and bring in the big plays. We're going to throw it over to short break. When we return, we'll get into this matchup of game number 2 versus Hypnotic Gaming and Blast Plant down.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, no.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, of Risen Esports Unstoppable League. At the matchup right now, Hypnotic Gaming versus Blast Plant down, game number 2. And Champ Select showed it. The casters just do not believe in Blast Plant down right now. Please, for the love of God, prove us wrong.
Also, don't listen to the stream title.
30 seconds until minions.
It's a lie.
It is a lie. It's important to notice. We say we're an unstoppable, but can you believe us when the title of the stream says Rampage Open?
Taco Bell Party Pack. That's a lie. There's a Modelo right there.
Modelo's for everyone. That's what we got to do.
Yeah, and versus always late. No, always there in the jungle. See, we've doubled down. Both of the teams have now been thwarted. We've proven that we are liars.
Well, always there was always there in game one. Every time Chandro tried to do anything, we found the orange jungle there for the counter pick. But we'll see how that works out in this game too. We've already got some wards and weird invades happening. Some vision from Blast Plant down, showing Hypnotic Gaming doing something a little spicy, but
I kind of like this a little bit because it can mislead Blast Plant, as always there did come up towards the red side and put the ward. So it kind of makes it seem like he's going to do a blue side start. We'll see if this actually plays out as being misleading or not, but it's an interesting little mind game.
it's more misleading if the bot lane doesn't leash and Kled fakes a leash. Neither of which happened because bot lane definitely leashed. They're showing up the lane very late. We have a gank in mid lane already. That's a flash. Oof.
Yeah, we talked about it. Level 2 J4, flag and drag. Always there. Didn't have as much presence earlier. It was just the nature of the Ornn. Now he's on J4. Now he's wreaking terror.
Yeah, you really,
That's what I'm looking
really don't want to lose your flash. Level 1 first wave as an Akali into Ornn. Silver Kama going to take a ton of damage and have to burn flash. It's always worth it as a player if you're in trouble. You blow your flash to dodge the flag and drag up front. That way you at least don't... Whoa.
I knew it all along. Nami's the best. The first to rotate. The best support. Y'all didn't believe me.
I'm sitting here talking about how you don't want to blow your flash, and Mandela Time just dies.
Meanwhile, gank in the top lane. Hypnotic Gaming gonna take down Tantro, and always there. Getting the assist. Great Jace will get the kill there, but focus back to the bot lane. Nami gets the kill. It's genius. They called him crazy.
Like I said, it's all about punishing mistakes. Modelo just walked really far up there for no discernible reason. There was not a lot to be gained from walking up, and it just left that center vulnerable. Dying without using barrier or flash is a little bit of a whoopsie. And then that whoopsie is immediately made up for, though, in the top lane. A really, really excellent counter gank from Always There, anticipating that the Rek'Sai would show up, standing still to avoid the tremor sense. And then as soon as Rek'Sai goes over that wall, you just flag and drag, knock the Rek'Sai up, and say, oh, you're dead now.
Let's see if it happens again. See if the madness of this Ezreal Nami lane, which is getting some damage right now. I want to believe it. Just go for it. He's got the arcade shift. The bubble's going off. He's going to do it. Blink's going to get the kill. No, he goes down. Oh, the fight's still going on. He flashes forward. It's going to be a double kill going over to Viper. Free Scruff able to run out of the bottom lane, but Hypnotic Gaming with... You're boring. You're boring. You have to win that bottom lane.
Yeah, it's just there were enough summoners from Hypnotic Gaming. The barrier bait comes in clutch. Ezreal just doesn't quite have the damage. It looked like a bad trade for Hypnotic. They pushed up, they were tanking minion aggro, but Rumble just does more damage than Senna this early in the game. You take an extended trade, Rumble's going to make it happen. There's enough damage coming in from that Flame Spitter, and then things just go from bad to worse. And oh no, not again.
Oh man, that was some amazing stuff going on in the bot lane. It's still an endless amount of pressure going on.
Well, hey, Modelo is very stuck right now.
There's no Cerveza in the death realm, my friend. Blink able to grab a kill. It's not gonna be the Nami this time. The power, the Nami Ezreal lane, undisputable. We're seeing it come to fruition right here.
Yeah, it's only the Ezreal pick could have secured the kill on the 50 HP Senna that stayed and recalled way later than was necessary. Only the Ezreal. Couldn't have been any other champion. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's interesting to say the least, but it's an interesting start. I can't really find any adjectives to really bring this together, but that party in the bot lane is about to make a sudden end. As Always There is able to get the flag and drag, going on to Flower Petals. Ruin the fun, why don't you Always There? Get out of this lane.
The 2v2 was so spicy. And now there's just a Jarvan here to ruin it. They're not fighting with honor, they're fighting with a numbers advantage. That's no fair.
You don't fight with honor?
Yeah, we actually saw some. It was not the greatest communication. Always there goes in right as Hypnotic as Viper is running away. But it's fine. You have the numbers advantage. The knockup lands on the flashless Nami. There's no way she's getting out of that one. There's just nothing that Flower Petals can do. Once the Jarvan's on top of the fish's face, that's donezo.
Jace kind of dealing the queen right there. Chandro just having to walk away with the tail between the legs. Even great Jace, when he's not on Skarl, is still a threat, even though he hasn't purchased a single thing yet.
Yeah, if I'm Chandro, I mean, what's the harm in trying to make it happen, right? You just go for it. He'll only remount and then kill you, and then you'll just be sad, but...
that might be the case right here. Both junglers going to be in the same vicinity. Flag and Drake comes out. Chandro now on the run. But mid laners are going to show up to this fight as well, as Silver, Free Scruff, joining the fray. Health bar starting to get low. A little bit of a time. It's called the Forge God goes out. It's going to find its mark onto the backside. Kama. It's a kill on the Free Scruff. All meanwhile, 1-for-1 trade. Jungler for mid laner. A very spread out fight, but interesting from both sides. Responses coming in now as Schmitty will find the Flag and Drake. Stayed there a little bit too long, and now he's back on Skarl, and he's pulling him back in with that bear trap out of rope. Schmitty trying to run away, knocked back off of Skarl. Up, down, all around. The fight is going all over the place. Kama now taking his leave, trying to at least. There'll be no bear trap on a rope, but the pillar is there to slow him down for a little bit. Will the terrain find the knockup for Free Scruff? Nope, just barely able to get out will be Kama, and yeah, what a disjointed fight, my friend.
Yeah, and we saw a fight where Blast Plant Down should have been stronger. They had
Tommy Ezreal. Okay, never mind.
The bubble did land. Hey, it's both. It's damage. It's just more damage coming back because Senna and Rumble hurt. As I was saying before the Nami Ezreal hype train. Oh boy.
Fight. There's a fight everywhere. The fight's just going. And Chandro, he's not the true shot. Ezreal comes in. Blink, able to blink away as Great Trace tries to find the fight here. The 1v3. The fight continues though as Blink still putting in those mystic shots. He's smelling it. He knocked him off Skarl, and now he's ready to bring him to his end. Great Chase on the run. Flower Pants puts out the bubble, but he's unable to find it as Blink still able to land the W.
Auto attack, Blink. Auto attack. Right click. Right click.
Out through as Blink is able to get kill number 2.
Hey, they got it,
baby. Blast is in it.
They're in it. They've got hope. The bubbles landed. The Ezreal Q's connected. They lost that disjointed fight in the top lane. They bring it right back. Chandro finds a good knockup in the bot lane, and they get a bit of a lead. They actually got kills. They gave nothing up. That's great for Blast Plant Down. And the Nami Ezreal working. You saw the bubble. It secured the Mystic Shot, or the True Shot barrage from Ezreal. Hit both the Rumble and the Senna. That's a lot of damage when you can connect a True Shot barrage on the level 5 target. You see the Senna's death coming in hot. She's under-leveled here. She was not that strong for that fight. There was no ultimate. They're capitalizing. Like, that's how you do it. There's hope. It's a game.
There is hope. There is hope. There is a game. There's a 2-1-3 Ezreal who was able to finish his Manamune, so he'll be able to bring some damage to the Rift at last, and it's a game. That's all we can say for this one. It's a game. The kills are even. No towers taken. Let's see how this shapes up, and might not shape up well in the mid lane for Kama, as here comes always there. Flag and Drag going to go wide, but the knockup will not. Now Kama going to be on the run, trying to utilize that stealth. Able to just barely hop, skip, and jump away to safety.
Yeah, ganking Akali is not fun. It's really, really not fun. She has more mobility than a champion should for any reason. She just goes stealth, and she dashes again. You don't get a kill. That was a good effort. Really well played by Silver Kama there to make sure to get out of that one.
Good job. You made me use half of my mobility.
I'm only using 10% of my power. That's why I'm down 20 CS.
Oh, in the top lane, a little bit of a skirmish going to break out. Trying to get Skarl will be Great Chase, but Schmitty is feeling the power, and now he's completely regretting that decision. The business Mundo. Well, it looks like business is going to be closed this time as Great Chase does find the 1v1, but now in the bot lane and continue on as Kama tries to dive forward. Here comes the tidal away from the Nami. It's going to go wide, unfortunately. Hypnotic Viper is now starting to feel he wants Void Monster for lunch as he puts on the flamethrowers. trying to get the Char onto the bot lane of Blast Plant, but Blink is there to deliver the Mystic shots.
That was a lot. The kill in top lane, that was the thing that happened. Schmitty just not taking his time there. I think when you're a Mundo and your ult is active, all you want to do is back away, let Grievous Wounds wear off, get a little bit of health before re-engaging that fight, and you'll win it. Instead, Schmitty just doesn't really wait long enough. The Grievous Wounds was active. He wasn't healing as much as he should have. He only backed off for half a second before going back in, which meant that the healing just wasn't there quite enough. And then great... Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was close right there. The equalizer did go up, but Blink is looking to go forward, trying to find the true shot barrage. He will go down. The legend of the Nami Ezreal, it's finally over, and I'm depressed about it as the mid lane gank goes off. Free Scruff looking to find Kama. Kama is an Akali. Will be able to do Akali things, as you can see right there. Free Scruff still wanting more, but Kama just has the advantage.
There are a lot of things I have to say about everything that just happened there. Like, I'm going to start talking, and then another fight's going to break out, and then I'm going to get interrupted, and I'm never going to get to say it. Shut. Are we okay? Chandra?
Sorry, got it.
Okay, we got it. Okay. Dragon went down. Chandra just soloed it during that. Rift Herald went down. Always there took it. Went at top, took a turret. First turret down. Ezreal, eat in that fight. Don't eat in fights. You E into a Rumble's face, you know what the Rumble's going to do? It's gonna say,
Burn,
oh, hey,
baby, burn.
you use your E. I can make you cook. Really, really a lot. Because I'm a Rumble. It just didn't work out. It was a good effort from Blink. He thought he could get the kill. It's a reasonable misunderstanding. Hard to fault him for it. You want to get those kills. Always there looking to kill Silver Kama right there. Just out of range of the Cataclysm. That would have been a kill if they were in range.
Oh, man. And he's been so effective this game. So far, kill participation just 50%, but that really doesn't say much as his presence on the map has been really insurmountable to deal with over on the side of Blast Plant. Blast Plant only have their Nami Ezreal lane carrying them very, very heroically through this early game, but always there. He's been in every other lane since.
Yeah. But in the Nami Ezreal lane.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
I completely agree with you. Oh, there's a bubble again, and there's the tidal wave. There's the power of the Nami Ezreal. It's looking to go through as Hypnotic goes close, but Nami Ezreal's not done, and neither is Always there. Please go away from the fish. Do not do this to her. They roasted her alive. Oh my God, and now it's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. The Nami went down. I'll press an F in the chat for that one, but Always there will be traded for it.
Yeah, and that's just a 1-for-1. I mean, it's well played by Blink and Flower Petals. You know, you see the enemy jungler coming in, you don't want to die, you trade 1-for-1. That's the enemy committing resources and you punishing them for it. You actually come out even there. We'll see if Blink is able to hold the turret 1v2. It shouldn't be that difficult, but it's a bit tough.
On to Schmitty right now, but
yeah,
great Jace is able to show up to this one, get those Grievous Wounds going, and bring the hurt over to the Mundo. Delayed for quite a bit of time, and there was a bit of tanking going there, but Scar will make sure that gets reset. Chandro only able to show up and pay respects to his fallen comrade. But
Chandro wants this. Silver Kama wants it too.
Oh, it's not over. Kama shows up and is now starting to bring the hurt, but the hurt was brought right back from Great Jace. As now Chandro looking to retreat from this one, knowing that he has to go through Scarl as well as Always there. Health bar so low, it makes you want to go in so badly.
Yeah, you always got to remember, though, as long as Kled is mounted, there are those frames of invulnerability. It's what dropped the turret aggro there. The remount comes with it. And so they're able to get the kill on Free Scruff. The Akali and Rek'Sai working well together. They're good synergy. And now Chandro's trying to get this fight. But Scarl is still mounted. He's still there.
Oh, not like that. But fight breaking out in the bot lane. Link is starting to feel it once again, but you have to be careful. We saw what happened last time. Schmitty able to get underneath his tower as Free Scruff tanks it.
Bot lane taking some favorable trades, though. Blink and Flower Petal's going to do what they can here. They've got a lane that's working well. It's just that on the rest of the map, their team's losing mid-turret. They're losing the mid-inner now. The poke is coming down. Great Jace is back on Scarl again. This Kled is impossible to kill. He just keeps getting on that lizard. I don't know why the lizard's running away if it's just going to come back every time, but it's working out.
Blink at the bot lane, able to get a kill. Nami Ezreal, once again, it's going forward. Blink wants to find Modelo, but that's going to be a hard task. The ultimate does go out, granting the shield, but completely wasted as disengage was already there from Blast Plant.
Yeah, they just chose not to chase. Modelo was a little scared that they might be in the bush. Modelo not paying attention to that pink ward there, but You know, sometimes you want to ult for safety, sometimes you want to ult to try to guarantee a kill, and oh no, Flower Petals, not again.
Flower goes down. Will he be able to survive? Blink trying to walk away from this one. The charge not off cooldown, so he will find safety.
This Jarvan is the enemy of fish people everywhere. That's all I'm going to say about this. Every time things are going well, always there's in the bot lane, there to dunk Flower Petals once again. Every single one of Nami's deaths, I think, has had something to do with this Jarvan, or close to it. It's just unfortunate. The turret went down at the front of that play. Always there, just gave it a little bop real quick before killing Flower Petals, making sure that the aggro wouldn't come through. So that's another turret for Hypnotic Gaming. They're starting to grow their gold lead. They're taking those objectives and static structures that Blast Plant Down haven't been able to secure for themselves. I'd love to see a turret plate lead. I imagine that Hypnotic had a bit of a lead on that as well. So the gold lead is here once again. It's a little smaller than it was this time last game, though. And the team comps don't scale quite as differently. So maybe Blast Plant Down can look to win a fight here around this dragon.
Yeah, you believe in it because of that Nami Ezreal pick that was so crucial to this early game. And the sad part is that's not even me being sarcastic. It's a 4-2-3 Ezreal. But here comes the tidal wave equalizer. Look to just completely choke out that entrance of the jungle. Now Kama's going in deep. He's able to claim Viper. Chandro also going to be there, but they're running away from 4 members of Hypnotic Gaming. And here comes the chase. Always there. Will get the slow onto Chandro. Chandro trying to fight tooth and nail to survive. At least buys enough time for Kama to be able to find his escape.
For how good that equalizer was in that fight, if you're Blast Plant Down, I think you have to be happy with the result. It's just a 2-for-1. The dragon was already down by the time the fight started. Hypnotic Gaming made sure to secure the dragon, and then they turned to fight. And when they did so, that equalizer out of Hypnotic Viper was so good in that choke. And Silver Kama, goodbye, friend.
Yeah, goodbye indeed. He just got way too close to Hypnotic Gaming when they're running a tear right through structure after structure of Blast Plant's base. This is pretty much looking to snowball out of control at this stage of the game.
And this might be a whole inhibitor. Blast Plant Down doesn't really have wave clear, and Hypnotic Gaming go for the dive.
Yeah, they're still going for it. They want to take it to the face of Blast Plant. That's exactly what they're doing. Always there, able to survive, but just barely now. Blink is caught out. Ezreal survived, my friend. No! Great chase takes him down, and I guess the Ezreal Nami was not a good choice after all.
You know, there are times when it's good. It worked in lane. It's just while they were in lane, the rest of their map was falling apart. Not being quite as successful as we saw the Ezreal Nami do. And there's just not enough wave clear on the side of Blast Plant Down. They don't have enough CC. The turret dive comes through, and in a turret dive like that, lockdown is what can punish you. You keep people stuck under the turret. You disallow them the opportunity to drop the aggro, and suddenly the turret starts putting in work. You keep them secured in position. They're not allowed to go anywhere, and you can punish a dive like that. The issue, Mundo can't do that. Akali can't do that. Ezreal can't do that. We said it during draft. There's just no CC. While I'm talking, we just see Hypnotic Gaming running all over Blast Plant Down. Another great equalizer. Yeah.
So beautiful. Blast Plant Down, gonna get knocked up by the tidal wave. It's starting to turn around now as biting off a little bit more than they can chew. Will be Hypnotic Gaming. They get the call of the Forge God, but they lost 2 members in that exchange. And really, those were pointless sacrifices right there. They did not need to go. It's going to be a third as Blink is able to get the triple kill. Now going after Scruff as well. If Flower Petals can find that lockdown, there would be a chance, but it's not going to be the case because of that slow.
Yeah, and you want to get excited for Blast Plant Down. That's a classic overstay from Hypnotic. They got the inhibitor, and they said, hey, now that we've got the inhibitor and 3,000 gold in all of our pockets, how about we try to push another inhibitor? Unsurprisingly, it doesn't work out. Eventually, the health bar difference, the cooldown difference, and just the fact that Blast Plant Down had been spending every time they died, and Hypnotic Gaming had been on the map for so long as a team, they do eventually end up weaker. They give over some gold. They give over some big shutdowns. But then they go back to base, they buy. They're going to be the stronger team here still. With the inhibitor down and Baron now up, Hypnotic Gaming can look to threaten the Baron, generate some pressure. They've got a very clear game plan from here on out, and their team is just working better right now.
Working much, much better. Hypnotic Gaming, it's been a wild ride. I will say that much. But Hypnotic Gaming, they're playing this on a macro level. They're still playing this strategically, and it really shows by how many structures they've taken, by the map control they've had throughout this game, even taking that final Shelly right before Baron was able to spawn. it's going to be very, very tough for Blast Plant to be able to survive this. They're going to be turtling up right now. They have inferior wave clear. There's not much they can do other than rely on Hypnotic to somehow have some form of hubris and overextend.
Yeah, but Ezreal just secured that cannon minion, and Hypnotic Gaming missed the cannon minion on that wave.
And it is Amin Ezreal. And that is a double bubble. And that is a tidal wave going right through the middle. A snare will match it, though. But there comes the knockup. Great chase. Knocked it into the air. Still has Skarl. Looking to slowly try and play this one out. Shelly will fall as the True Shot Barrage lands onto 3. But Hypnotic Gaming kind of own this map right now as they rotate over towards that top lane tier 2.
And it's the lack of wave clear again. Hypnotic Gaming don't even need the Baron. There's just no one that can get rid of the waves with this Rift Herald to drop down to do even more damage. Blast Plant down is powerless. They can't get in to hit it. They can't get in to hit the wave. It's just Ezreal trying his best to wave clear, and he needs his ultimate for these fights, so he's not even able to use it on the wave. So you've got the melee Akali trying her best, and other than that, it's just the spare Ezreal Qs. They're not going to be able to get rid of this cannon minion. It's tanking the turret right now, and no one's going to be able to hit it. You're going to see Hypnotic Gaming push up to this inhibitor. What's Blast Plant down going to do about it, other than let them walk away, I guess?
And of course, Dragon spawning right now, and that's exactly where the rotation from Hypnotic Gaming is going to head over to, taking the charge on the express route.
That's a Kled ult to go secure Mountain Dragon. I suppose. I mean, they could have gone right for Baron there. I think they have the map pressure, the vision denied that they needed to. But, I mean, there's no need to greed if you're Hypnotic. You're not on a timer. You have the Ornn. The upgrades finally starting to come in. You see the Abyssal Mask and the Sunfire Cape both finally upgraded for free scruff. That Ornn is now unkillable.
Good luck getting through that front line, and really good luck getting anywhere near this Baron, as now Chandro starting to pay for this bear trap on a rope with the combo coming through as the Void Rush is completely thwarted by one swift auto coming out from always there. But now Kama's starting to come in, Tidal Wave landing onto 3 as well as Call of the Forge God ringing through. Gonna be shut down coming through. Kama is bringing the damage, but he cannot escape the flames. The Viper, now Schmitty on the run, has the ultimate running, but Viper is not done. He's gonna toast up too, and now he sets his sight onto Blink. Free scrub chasing as well. The slows are starting to go through. A flash forward, bear trap on a rope, almost bringing Blink back in. He's able to arcane shift away. Flower Petals trying to survive, will get pulled in by that bear trap on a rope, and Hypnotic picks up kill number 3 in this fight. This fight's gone on for so long. Chandra is able to rejoin back in, and now he's trying to stop his Nexus from going down, but it's a 2 versus 4. There's nothing Blast Plant can do, and just like that, on the drop of a dime, this game is over.
Hypnotic Gaming, a dominant 2-0 in this series. Props to them for this. It was a good effort from Blast Plant down. Silver Kama put in a ton of work in that last team fight. Able to kill always there, deny the Baron. It's just the lead was too strong once again. We see Blast Plant down. They have the team fight ability. It's just they can't hold on for these early games. They're down so much money that even once they play these fights well, the gold difference, the item difference, it's too much for them to overcome. Hypnotic Gaming, well executed. They don't quite play that fight clean, but they don't need to. They're so far in the lead, they just say, let's run at them. We can kill the Rek'Sai, and we'll figure out what happens from here. And you know what happened from there? They took the Nexus. So, works out for them. Congratulations to them on this easy 2-0.
Yeah, that's really what it started out as, huh? It was just catching out Nexus in the jungle. What the hell? Catching out Rek'Sai in the jungle, and they just slowly turned that into a route onto the Nexus, and that's how it closed out. But I mean, that's the danger of that comp. When you draft like that and you're going against a composition that powerful, you're pretty much done. The vision control was so steadily in the hands of Hypnotic Gaming that even if you try and take a fight where you might have an advantage, those equalizers were always a threat. The Call of the Forge God was always a threat. There was so little Blast Plant can do when they fell behind and lost that level of vision control.
Now, one takeaway is if you go look at the damage graph, Nami Ezreal.
Nami Ezreal, baby. We said it. You heard it here first. It's the future. And you'll remember this day. Blink will go down in the history books as long with Flower Petals as the ones who brought back Nami Ezreal.
Hey, we doubted the Nami first pick and the Ezreal last pick. I think they proved to us that they knew what they were doing with those picks. It was an execution problem, not a draft problem, perhaps. We'll see, though. It was a good effort from the Blast Plant down bot lane. You got to give them props for trying their best. props for everyone on that team.
Yeah.
They really did give it their all. It was just hard to keep up with the unrelenting pressure from always there, and the fact that the objectives just kept falling, the turrets kept going, the wave clear wasn't quite enough. Unfortunate that Nami Ezreal couldn't pull it out for the 2v8.
Honestly, Blast Plant is one of those teams that I think would benefit greatly from having a coach to get them through the draft phase and figure out what their power and weaknesses are. I think that's one of the things that could really get this team into shape. And Cole, after calling their draft, I would like to nominate you as their coach. Would you mind?
How am I supposed to coach if I'm casting? That's the
You got a
question.
point there. No
This is
caster
this is
bias.
important. I mean, hey, maybe I just cast while I'm drafting. Is that possible?
Yes. Wait. I'm looking at your profile picture on Discord. That's looking froggy, and so is that chair over on Blast Plant. So you might already be a member, and I don't even know this yet. But anyway, once again, congratulations to Hypnotic Gaming for their win, a very dominating win. And that's going to do it here for the casting this. My name has been Eric Desrex Batran, of course, followed by Coleslaw right here. And of course, Meowngly the cat, who's streaming for us right now. A big thank you to him over, off on the mic. We always need love for our streamers. So thank you all for watching. Any closing statements, Cole?
Do I have any closing statements? There was one Morellonomicon built this entire series, and it was built with a Leandry. How am I, as a color caster, supposed to commentate on a match if I don't get to talk about the Forbidden Book build path?
And that's going to do it here for Esports. We'll be sure to see you next time. Same place, same time, all that good stuff. See you later, ladies and gentlemen.